In 1773, the United States of America didn't exist. 2.5 million people lived in these colonies, more than a third of the population of Britain. But they were governed by a king and a parliament 3,500 miles away, with no vote and little power to make decisions of their own. After 170 years, that was about to change, thanks to a popular commodity, tea. Boston, Massachusetts, 1773. The British government charged tax on the tea it sold throughout the colonies. It wasn't very high, but it became a symbol of Britain's oppressive rule. Some people began asking why they should be paying taxes to a government that gave them no say.
No taxation without representation. No to British tea taxes.
A Massachusetts politician called Samuel Adams decided it was time to act.
A man's property is the fruit of his industry, and if it may be taken from him under any pretense at the will of another, he may not be said to be free.
When he heard that close to 100,000 pounds of British tea were en route to Boston, Adams vowed it would never be unloaded from the ships. But the British were determined to land their cargo and collect the taxes. In November 1773, the first of 3 British ships, the Dartmouth, sailed into Boston Harbor. The ship docked at Griffin's Wharf, its hold packed with tea. The city was on the brink of explosion. 2 more tea-laden ships arrived. For 20 days, the rebels blocked the crews from unloading. They called for the ships to return to Britain. But the pro-British governor of Boston rejected their demands.
The governor has refused permission for the ships to leave.
The time for mob action had come. The rebels headed for Boston Harbor. 60 of them dressed up as Mohawk Indians, comparing themselves to Native Americans standing up to a foreign invader. In just 3 hours, 46 tons of tea were destroyed, worth more than $1.5 million today. It has gone down in history as the Boston Tea Party, the first act of rebellion in a bloody conflict that would give rise to an independent nation. The American Revolutionary War lasted 8 years, until the British finally granted the 13 colonies their independence. Samuel Adams was one of the founding fathers of the United States of America. He signed the Declaration of Independence.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they're endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
For thousands of years, kings, popes, and tyrants had claimed the right to rule over others. Now, ordinary people were inspired by a new idea, that all men are created equal. It would be almost 200 years before those words would include men of other races and women. But the concept of equality and individual rights was a huge leap forward for human society, laying the foundations of the modern world.